What it do, everyone? Welcome back to the second episode of Keeping Up with the RDF. First, you got your boy Johnny, aka Bello Limoncello. We got our dude Trayvon's Trench, aka Charlie, and we got our boy Johnny Squared, aka Queen's Gambit, but also aka TBD. He's got something in the works, but he's been teasing everyone until the draft happens. So we have no clue what it is, but stay tuned for that because that's going to be very exciting. But before we get started, shout out to Charlie. All these edits that you see, all the displays, worked very hard to get it all set up. And trust me, hopefully this is the take that works because it took us about 6 times for this audio and video to work. So hopefully this is one take here and we do not have to pause. But without further ado, we're going to get right into it because this episode is going to be power rankings, but just for this year. So we know Dynasty works. It's years on end, different trades that you can do with draft picks, but we're just focusing on this year and where we think teams are going to land. We did use fantasycalc.com to total the value for each team. So we are going to go in order of that, but we are going to say our piece and either respectfully say stuff about these teams that are good or we're going to talk shit about them. But we're going to get straight to it. Basically, I'm going to start with Team 12 and make our way all the way down to 1. And from there, after we say, we're going to just talk about each team and say what we think they're going to be ranked and, see what happens at the end of the season and seeing if we're right or not. So without further ado, if you boys don't have anything to say, we can go straight to it and just get number 12.
Let's do it, man.
All right, let's have some fun. Alrighty, so for number 12, we got TJ's team. What could go wrong? So I'll say my piece, and I got index cards, and I'm ready to go. So the reason why, I also will say this, I had him at 12 as well. The reason why for it is this year he only has picked 12. And we all know the guaranteed RB1 that we know for a fact is going to have a big standout, Jeremiah Love. By pick 12, we don't know what's going to happen. And he only has one true RB1 on his team. He has Chase Brown. Everyone else, he has Kenneth Gainwell, but he just went to the Buccaneers, splitting carries over there. He has no one else. So basically, I don't know if Bucky goes down for some reason, knock on wood, never want injuries to happen, but he has nothing at RB. He traded all of his picks. He could have done something else with it, but also his bench is very weak as well too. If one of his starters get injured, the only person I saw on there was also Shaheed, but also we have no clue how he's going to be going this year. And also his wide receivers, they are straight up boom or bust wide receivers. Like Brian Thomas, he's going to face against Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers this year. Jerry Jeudy, right now, if the Browns are looking like taking a wide receiver, he's not going to be wide receiver on the Browns anymore, like wide receiver 1 at least. But shout out to our boy Jeudy for being on the Cleveland Browns, full respect there. And Cortland Sutton, he puts up big points, but is he just a TD-dependent wide receiver in a PPR league? So that's really the other thing to worry about. And kind of from there, that's why I had him at 12. I just don't see a lot of bench depth. And I just don't see a lot of star talent. And with the 12th pick, just don't know what's going to follow him there. So that's why I have to keep him at 12. That's just me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I also had him at 12. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. You hit on most of them. I really think that his weakest position, you could pick any of them, to be honest, and you could say that's his weakest spot. But QB, he's got Bo Nix. Sure, Bo Nix is promising, had a good year last year. Obviously, he goes down with the injury in the playoffs, but it's after that, he's got Matthew Stafford, who he traded for this offseason. Stafford's got what? This season, and then he's done. He's got Anthony Richardson, who, enough said with that. Injury prone. He's never got a fair shot. Can't stay healthy around the field. That's a whole nother case. Speaking of cases, Deshaun Watson's also on his bench. So it's who knows what's going to happen there? You don't know. You have Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson. They're probably going to sign a QB in free agency or, draft one late in the draft. So, again, he doesn't have a viable option after Bo Nix. If Bo Nix goes down, sure, you have Stafford for this year alone. Stafford, I would almost bank on him being done after this year. And I did take a little bit into account his future draft picks. I know it was supposed to be off this year, but he has 2 picks for the next 3 years. So it's like, sure, maybe get better through the draft. Oh, wait, you have no picks in the future. So, I mean, looking at the holes at running back and quarterback, I mean, it's just, that's why I'm keeping him at 12.
So I did my power rankings based off of starting roster just for this year only. And I actually had Tyson ranked 9 for me. Biggest need, definitely running back. Besides Chase Brown, he really has no one on his roster. Maybe Byshell Tootin is the starter there. Maybe he isn't. Depends if they draft somebody. I think his wide receivers carry him a little bit. Tight end premium league, he's got Laporta, maybe a top 8 tight end for fantasy. We'll see what happens in Detroit. I just think there's teams that have they're in a worse off spot than what he is for this year.
Very fair points. And the one thing I gotta respect about TJ, the man loves making trades.
Yeah.
So big shout out to TJ because we know a lot of teams don't make trades, but I love that this dude will go straight up and he doesn't care. Like he goes all in. So, full respect to him on that. So let's go into Team 11. I gotta say this was a big shock to me, but I'm very excited to see what my dad thinks on this because it shows that my dad is the 11th team on this list. And I, of course, father son, I will be fully respectful as best as I can so I don't get grounded. But I actually have my dad at number 8. But at least this is what I'm gonna say. My dad, for sure, he has, I would say, top 3 best wide receiver talent in the league. His wide receivers, he has Garrett Wilson, he has George Pickens, T. Higgins, and now wide receiver 1 in Roman Odunze. So I think there has to be more respect on his wide receivers that he has. He does have average running backs in DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson, but we have to remember where his team started. Like, that's why I do not have him anywhere in the 11, 10, or even 9 spot, because he really took over a shit team. And now I know Travion Henderson is the starting running back over there, but Stevenson, he's going to still get his touches and everything. I know he traded away Kenneth Walker to Charlie, and I know he's very happy of that. But I really took into order that he had to do a lot. And, people were shit talking him that you took over a shit team. And I'm like, respectfully, good for him for taking over a shit team. I know there would be a lot of people that wouldn't have the balls to do that. But the cons of my dad's team, I know the bench talent isn't strong either, but he does have a decent tight end duo of Brenton Strange and Hunter Henry in the tight end dependent league. So those could be top 10 tight ends, but we never know, of course. But, he also has pick 108, so, time will tell to see what he's going to get out of that pick and who's going to fall to him there. But yeah, I think it was a very interesting placement for my dad at 11.
Yeah, so I did not have him at 11. I had him at 9, so pretty much right around where you had him, Becker. I think the biggest thing for me, and again, I took future picks going into it. Next year, I mean, I'm banking on your father being terrible because I have his number 1 overall pick. He doesn't have a first rounder next year. It's yours, which obviously we'll see down the line where we all ranked you, but it's probably going to be a late first rounder next year. QB room, I mean, Mahomes and Shuck. I think Tyler Shuck could be a stud. I think he had a really promising rookie year when he got this chance to shine. But again, his wide receiver room is solid. That's a really solid wide receiver room. If George Pickens replicates what he did last year, Garrett Wilson, I mean, granted it's the Jets and who knows what'll happen with them, but you could see him traded during the season. So I think when you really look at his wide receiver room, if you asked me a week ago before he traded away Kyle Pitts and Tyler Warren, I think maybe he's even higher on the list, but I got to keep him at number 9. And Becker, I know you're happy about that tight end trade, but yeah, that's my piece.
Yeah, I have him same ranked as Becker. I got him at number 8. He was in a similar spot to Tyson for me. He's got young wide receivers. The reason I had him ranked higher, I think his roster is just they're all in better spots than where Tyson's guys are. You got Odunze is the wide receiver 1 now in Chicago in a Ben Johnson offense. He's going to have Mahomes back, Pickens if he can replicate what he had last year, Higgins is the wide receiver 2 with Joe Burrow and a really bad defense, so they're going to have to score a lot of points. Biggest need I had for him was running back because his running backs are not great. I mean, you never know. Monungai might take over the RB1 role in Chicago, and then Swift is playing backup, and then Ramondre Stevenson's playing backup. So that's what kind of knocks him down for me, just looking at his starting lineup, is he doesn't really have starting running back players, in my opinion.
You know, it's crazy as we're saying this because there is shit talking as we speak in this app, like literally this second. Ryan's going after my dad, and they're arguing about the wide receivers. And basically, like, this is an excitement. Like, this is why we did the YouTube channel, because there's been so much shit talking happening that literally, like, we can't make this up, that they're shit talking as we speak about their wide receivers and who has the best team, injuries, quarterbacks. Like, this is exciting. And we know this, like a little hint to everyone who watches, there's going to be an episode that we're going to have Ryan and my dad here at the same time talking. And that's going to be the time that my dad will finally be introduced to the league. You guys get to meet him as well. But gosh, this is why I love this league, man. I love this league. All right, let's go. Let's finally now skip that and go to Team 10 here. They have Ryan. They have a mystery liquid on here. So I should have had this prepared, but I actually had Ryan at Team 11. The reason why I had him at Team 11 was he did just make a recent trade to get Bucky, but that was before, Kenneth Gainwell went to the Bucks. But it was promising because Rashid White went to the Commanders, but it did not take long for that signing to happen. So that's also his only true RB1 right now on there. He does have a very average wide receiver core, but there's going to be concerns on production. First thing first, Rashee Rice, what's going to happen with him? If he's not ready in the beginning of the season, that could be really, tense for if trades are going to need to be happening for him, or if he's just going to risk it and hope like he has a very good second half of the season. And then for Wan'Dale Robinson, I do think he's a very solid wide receiver, but I think he's just very big boomer bust potential. And it really just depends if Cam Ward can have a very good sophomore year. I know he had a bad slump, but I think it's also because I think the injuries happening with that team as well. But I think it's really trusting the process on his team because he also does have pick 103 and 201. So who knows what he wants to do. He did publicly say in our group chat that he wants to take Sadiq at 103, and with being a tight end premium league now, that definitely will be a big boom for him. But once again, man, it's also bench depth. Like, there's really not a lot there. But as we speak, like you said, Ryan's defending his wide receivers to my dad. So we'll see where they land this year. But all we can say right now is everything is just average right now for him. And I just don't see him being anywhere in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I had him ranked at 11. I think when you look at his QB room, it really is not terrible. You have Jordan Love, who obviously is promising. Kyler in a new scene in Minnesota, I think could be promising. But he also has Jacoby, and Jacoby, hey, he's a Cleveland legend, if you will. So I have faith in him. He's got Aaron Rodgers, who if he's coming back, he'll be starting. Justin Fields, who knows his situation. But I think his QB room is serviceable. I mean, team needs being running back and tight end. I mean, I really, really did not like the Bucky trade when it happened. And especially now that Kenny Gainwell is there, I really don't like the Bucky Irving trade. I mean, when you look at his picks now, like you said, Becker, he has 103 and 201. If you still have 102, you have 3 of the top 13 picks. Like, especially when it comes to the actual rookie draft for us, people are so engaged in that. Like, you could just hold that pick. The closer we get to draft time, the closer, that pick goes up in value. Wide receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson, I think really is like a knight in shining armor. I mean, him going to Tennessee, I think helps his stock a lot. Tight end, though, I mean, it's Jatavion Sanders, who, maybe Carolina can turn it up offensively, but then it's Zach Ertz. And it's like, yeah, Zach Ertz was good last year when he's healthy, though. I think his age really plays a question into that. But yeah, that's why I had to keep him at 11.
I actually have Ryan ranked as my worst team in the league. Jordan Love leaves a lot to be desired as your number one quarterback. Other than that, he's got really nothing that stands out to me. Running back was my biggest need for him, and that says a lot considering his wide receivers aren't that great either. But Tajay Spears is one of his starters, and he's not going to have a good chance of getting one in the draft. So Bucky being your number one maybe is okay if you had a decent number two, but he doesn't. And Raji Rice with his situation, who knows what happens there. Wayndale Robinson to Tennessee, I actually do like. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It depends if Cam Ward has an up or down year. Tight end, he needs a lot of help. Yeah, his team leaves a lot to be desired, and I can see he was going for young guys with upside, but hopefully the upside pays off for him. It's not looking too likely right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really wish with that trade that he was going to trade the 103 to your dad. I still don't understand why he gave him the power of giving up a pick in front of him. I would never, ever, ever do that. I said that in the first episode. I had back-to-back picks. I would never give someone a pick in front of me. I would always make sure he gets that pick behind me, because if he takes your player, you never know what can happen. Who knows? Who knows if your dad really wants to piss him off and he takes the tight end, and we go from there. We'll see. But I think for now, we'll skip that topic. We'll skip the number 9 here. And we have Andrew, a.k.a. Kicker on IR. And I also had him at 9. I will say this. He has a very sneaky RB room. He has Derrick Henry. He has R.J. Harvey. He has Javonte Williams. He has David Montgomery, who just got traded. And currently right now, Chuba Hubbard, with Rico leaving, if Chuba can really, outbeat, his competition this offseason, he has five RB1s. He also has an average wide receiver core. He has Debo, Michael Wilson, Devontae Adams, but of course, depending on Michael Wilson, I know he got a lot of productivity because of Marvin Harrison being hurt. So with them both being healthy, who's going to really get the competition there? And Devontae Adams, dude, he is still a crazy man. I believe he finished with 14 touchdowns this past season. And, Stafford had that MVP caliber year. So if Stafford can do that again, Devontae Adams does have top 10 potential. But the only bad thing that I saw out of this was he has no first-round picks. And his star tight end, Kittle, who knows how long he's going to be out for. He does have Dallas Goedert as a backup tight end, which is still very promising. But how much longer does George Kittle have with all the injury history that he's gone through? But, I know he could sneak in. I feel like he would be a 6th-place team, but he does just have a very average team. Not saying anything bad about his team, but, it's so average that he's going to either probably go for 80 points or he's going to freaking score 150 points per week. But that's really what I got on his team.
Yeah, I had him bumped up one spot. I had him in the 8th spot. I honestly don't hate his QB room. I do think it's still a team need. Jaden Daniels, healthy, stud. I mean, we've seen it his rookie year. He genuinely is a freak of nature when he's healthy. Obviously not healthy last year, so that's not going to help him. Shador Sanders, I mean, we kind of talked about the Browns QB room a little earlier. I think he's the favorite to have the week 1 QB1 job, but that could be a QB1 there. And Geno Smith, I know things weren't great in Vegas, but he goes back to New York. Maybe he starts off this season at least as QB1, and if they have a younger guy in there, who knows where that goes. But Becker, to your point, his running back room is kind of nice. I know Derrick Henry's older. He's still insanely productive. Javonte Williams last year, I think he finished PPR running back 4. So, I mean, he's got great guys there. I think tight end room and not having any picks kind of had me down, having him in the 8th spot. To your point, George Kittle, maybe 1 or 2 more years. Dallas Goedert, I think, just signed an extension today with the Eagles to stay for 1 more year. But again, no first rounder this year kind of hurts him. And that second rounder that he does have is pick 7 in the second round. So, it's definitely in the later half of that round. But, I think his team can be servable. Again, to your point, Becker, boomer bust definitely feels like this type of team.
So I actually have Andrew ranked at team 11 for me. Love Jaden Daniels, love him. Hopefully he comes back healthy and he can ball out. Love his running backs, love Javonte, love Henry. But after that, Harvey, I think he's going to be wide receiver 2 behind Dobbins this year. Maybe Montgomery is running back 1. I honestly think the Texans are still going to draft somebody else to compete in that room. Chuba Hubbard, hopefully he comes back healthy and plays behind that offensive line. But wide receivers leave a lot to be desired for me. Michael Wilson is going to be wide receiver 2 behind, well, technically wide receiver 3 behind Marv and Trey McBride, in my opinion. There's two better options than him. Debo is a free agent. He's old. Who knows where he goes, what that situation is going to be. Devontae Adams had a really good year last year. He's getting old. He has the hamstring problems. Puka is still by far the wide receiver 1 there for me. And then you got Kittle coming off of an Achilles tear, and who knows how long he's going to be out. So then you have Dallas Goedert filling in there, and he's maybe a top 15 fantasy tight end, but I wouldn't rank him much higher than that. So his team, I like his running backs. His wide receivers is what bumps him down for me.
I still can't believe, like, it's... What was I about to say? God damn it. I don't know what I was about to say. Anyways, let's go ahead and skip on to oh no, Trey McBride, that's right. Dude, he had probably one of the best tight end seasons, like top 5 all time. His numbers, he outproduced running backs, he outproduced wide receivers. Like, it was freaking nuts. Like, the man was almost averaging like over 20 points a game. Like, it was insane. And like, he won by a landslide from tight end too, like by a major landslide. So yeah, currently right now that Cardinals offense is, very unknown, but we're going to go on now and skip on to, what are we on? Team number 8, if I'm corrected, right?
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
right.
team number 8. So we got Team K-Check, and I had him at number 10. Here's the one thing I have to say about this team. Very MIA. I never see trades happening, never see acquisitions happening with this team. He's only made, I think, 1 trade since he joined the league, and I know that was with your dad, Johnny. He got
No, he made a trade
Jefferson.
with me.
Was it with you? Did you have Justin Jefferson?
He made a couple trades then, because he made a trade with me on draft day last year.
Okay, because that's why I think I might have made a trade with him too, but I just know, like, I never see him talk in the chat. Like, he's very quiet. I've never even met the dude as well too, so I don't even know like who he is. But also with him, with a few of the other teams, he only has 1 true RB1 in Hampton. We know Hampton did have injury concerns last year, and when Vidal came in, he was putting up 100-yard rushing games like when he was out. So I still think Hampton is a stud at Dynasty, top 10 running back if he stays healthy and everything. But I know he does have Aaron Jones. He did sign a contract, but once again, Aaron Jones, like, after this season, or even if he's going to split carries with Jordan Mason, or if the Vikings go out and they draft a running back this year, he doesn't have really any other depth. He does have Tony Pollard, but if Jeremiah Love goes to the Titans, Pollard is either going to get traded or he's going to be RB2. There's no way they will have Tony Pollard taking away carries from Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love's talent is freaking insane. But I think the biggest thing out of this team that truly ruined his future was taking Hunter last year. And we can kind of see now that he's going to be a straight up cornerback now, or if anything, he's going to play a couple plays at wide receiver, but that truly ruined his first round pick last year. It truly ruined it. And then from there on, AJ Brown, there's like concerns about what's going to happen, if he's going to stay with the Eagles, if he's going to go on another team. But I still think AJ Brown is a top 10 wide receiver. I just think he needs to get more respect. I know he gets upset that he doesn't get targets, but the man is a freaking freak as well too. Just throw up the damn ball to him, he's going to catch it. But also, he has a decent bench, but when you think about it too, being a tight end dependent league, he has Travis Kelce. Kelce's going to probably retire this year. So after that, what are you going to really get out of it? He does have pick 4, but once again, if Sadiq goes at 3, I think it's a major jump of getting the second best tight end at 104. So I think at 104, he should probably take the best available player there. But he also has Rashid White, Rashid White could be a sleeper with the Commanders. He could take over Jacory's role there, but we'll see on that. But then you also have DeAndre Hopkins. He's nothing too crazy now. He's past his prime, even though I think he's probably one of the best receivers to ever play the game. But he just always played with shitty quarterbacks his whole freaking career. He also has Jordan Addison, but once again, Vikings signed Kyler Murray, so we'll see, how that rolls there. But, really, I just think Team K-Check, I think he has to start making some trades. Like, that's what I think. He has a lot of star talent, but I really think he needs to start making some trades if he wants to start tanking or if he wants to really start making the playoffs, because I don't think he's made the playoffs since he joined the league, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I had him, like you, Becker, down 2 spots at 10. I had A.J. Brown, and in draft day last year, I traded A.J. Brown to Corey for pick 3, which then I drafted Travion Henderson. So that's how he's got him. But I think on paper, you would expect his wide receiver room to be pretty damn solid. McConkey, I know he had a down year last year, but you look at his rookie season, it was like, holy shit, this guy's the greatest wide receiver of all time. I mean, he put up insane stats his rookie year. To your point, Travis Hunter, I mean, he's playing cornerback this year primarily. Who knows if they keep it that way, but I think that unknown really hurts him. Christian Watson can be serviceable. Jordan Addison, again, can be serviceable. I think if Jacksonville's offense can keep up with what they did last year, Trevor Lawrence is a great fit there at quarterback. But then you look at his, the rest of the guys in his QB room. You have Tua, who's going down to Atlanta and competing with a guy with no knees for QB1. And then you had Jalen Milroe, who it's like, okay, he's young, second year, but they have Sam Darnold there in Seattle. So it kind of hurts him. I think, he still has all of his picks this year, I think next year, and even in 2028. So, I mean, if he wants to, he can build a really solid foundation. I know he's got, like you said, pick 4 this year. I mean, at that point, if I'm him, I'm going tight end in a tight end premium league this year. There's so many good tight ends this draft to where you kind of got to go with one. But I think if he wanted to, within 2 years, he can make the playoffs.
So I had him at my team 10 as well. His running backs are interesting. Tony Pollard, I think, is a serviceable running back too, as long as Tennessee doesn't go out and get another running back, which it's sounding like at this point they will. So that bumps him down to having one starting running back in Hampton, I like Hampton as a dynasty running back. At least I would say he's a top 7 running back asset, just because he's young, he's in a good offense, especially now that McDaniels is there. Wide receivers, I like his wide receivers a lot as long as they can get back to where they were. I think A.J. Brown, even if he gets traded, might be in a better situation, honestly, to get away from all the drama of Philly. His tight end room is lacking, needs some help for sure. And then you get Christian Watson in your flex. They just traded away, or Dubes left in free agency. Maybe Watson can step up more there if he stays healthy. But, yeah, I wouldn't put him any higher than 10 for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely did not take into consideration that his wide receivers besides A.J. Brown, because Ladd McConkey, man, he had a freaking freak of a rookie year, but from there on, I know last year he struggled. So, time will tell with that too. But, going on to Team 7, which is definitely a surprise because it's going to be Johnny. Not me, Johnny, but Johnny squared. I actually had Johnny at Team 4, actually. And currently, what I had to say, I truly think that this man had the fastest rebuild of all time. Like, last year, he made so many trades, but, like, when you think about it, the trades that he made, he now has pick 101, and he also has pick 105. So, like, he's guaranteed Jeremiah Love, and then he's also guaranteed either Sadiq or one of our 3 top receivers in Tyson, Tate, or Lemon as well. So I truly think he's going from a last place team to a playoff team. And to add on, if he takes Jeremiah Love, he also has 2 other young star RBs in Junkins and Breece Hall. The only thing I hate about it is I really wish Breece Hall could have went to another team.
Me too, man.
But, we'll see. There could be promising future with the Jets with their picks and everything. But Also, to add on, you have a very good young core at wide receiver. Hopefully, Neighbors gets healthy here soon, and Zay Flowers as well, if he can have another 1,000-year season. And, they signed Lamar again for that whole contract. And, from there, he has a promising young tight end in Gatson. The only thing I will say that I hated the most, and I know you're probably biting your lip on this, is you got rid of Colson Loveland last year. And I knew from there at the end of that season, I was like, oh man, like this is gonna like kill him, man. Like I remember I was trying to trade for him because he was like not doing anything. I was like just give me him. Like I think I was offering you like Laporta in like a first round for him in like a second round. I was like, but you didn't budge. You gave him 2 hours. You still got, a decent amount out of that trade. I forgot again, but I know it was still a fair trade. But I think for you, as long as your players stay healthy, you can easily make a push in the playoffs. But I think that's key there. You just got to have healthy players and go from there. But props to you, man. I really think like you are going to be a playoff team last place. Like, yeah. But that's why I think it's crazy that you were 7th place. I think you're for sure at least a top 16.
I actually agreed with Fantasy Calc, and I had you at 7. No disrespect to you, of course. But again, I took future picks into account. Yes, you have a first next year, and I think a second next year.
Okay, yeah, first and second.
2028, I think you only have a 4th rounder.
I have a 4th round pick in 2028.
And that's it. So, like, for me, it's like if you're trying to really build that depth, but granted, you have a lot of tradable assets. Your QB room, I'll be honest, I'm not convinced on Caleb or Bryce. I know Bryce and Caleb both had solid years last year. To me, it's just a matter of can they replicate it. I mean, we've seen that so many times. I feel like with young quarterbacks, it's like, damn, C.J. Stroud looked insane his rookie year, right? He's the best quarterback we've ever seen have a rookie year. And then the last 2 years, he's been getting worse and worse. So, like, things like that, I think, are very up in the air still. Breece Hall, I know recently I asked you about Breece Hall, and I was like, hey, can I have Breece Hall for free? And you said no. So, you definitely – and my biggest concern is, like, Judkins. Obviously, we're all Browns fans. I love Quinshawn. He's a dog. If he's coming back 100%, yes, dude, your running back room's going to look nasty with Breece, Quinshawn, and then inevitably Jeremiah Love. While we're talking about your team, though, is there a world where you don't take Jeremiah Love at 1?
I think the only way I don't take Jeremiah Love at 1 is if I was offered something crazy for 101. It would have to be a crazy haul for 101.
So you're saying, like, regardless of where he gets drafted, you're taking him?
I think he's that good of a prospect that pretty much he could turn any team around.
So if he got drafted to Detroit, you take him?
Well, why would Detroit take him?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if any...
Let's be realistic if we're going to talk like that. Let's be realistic.
Oh, I'm just saying, there's circumstances. What if he goes to Arizona?
Yeah, I'd take him if he went to Arizona.
What about Atlanta?
Why would they draft him?
I'm just saying they could. They could take him. If they were like, screw it, we're taking him. We don't need a quarterback this year.
Yeah, Tyler Algier, the year before they drafted Bijan, Tyler had over 1,000 yards rushing, and instantly they still took Bijan top 10. So that's the thing. They've already been comparing Jeremiah Love to Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm just hoping that Ashton Jeanty, for example, do I think he's going to be a star running back? Yes, but he did not reach his potential because they didn't have an offensive line for him. The dude literally couldn't get like 2 yards. So he still finished, as a very good, decent dynasty running back. But I do really hope that Jeremiah Love gets put on a team that we know that he can thrive. But that's the thing, man. For example, even Michael Penix, we were also surprised when a quarterback, he got drafted when they had Kirk Cousins. Like, that's why the draft is so exciting. And, like, we'll see what happens, but these are all very good points, though, of where he's going to get picked at.
Yeah. No, I think pretty much no matter what, Love is my pick at 101.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. I would be the same.
I feel like it's almost unfair to rank myself, but I had myself between 5 and 6 with another team that we'll talk about later. I do like my running backs a lot from what I can have. I think Judkins, the way the Browns structured their offensive line, they want to run the ball a lot, is what it seems like. So I'm excited to see what that is. And then Brees Hall with the Jets. I was hoping he was going to go somewhere else, but he has been productive with the Jets before, so I'm not super upset about that. They have a lot of picks to fix their offense. Hopefully they bring in some more guys in free agency. Caleb Williams, I'm actually super excited about. He had a bad rookie year, and he had a good second year, which I think is reverse of how a lot of guys are, is they'll have decent rookie years and have a sophomore slump. Well, Caleb Williams had a better sophomore year than he did his rookie year. So hopefully another year with Ben Johnson, same coach, same coordinators, he can put something together. And then my wide receivers, I'm not upset about it all as long as they can stay healthy. Malik Neighbors, if he's healthy, is a top 5 wide receiver. And they just brought in Darnell Mooney, so you can't really double him now the whole time. Zay Flowers just came off of a really good year, so hopefully he can produce that again. Quentin Johnson, I know he's a wide receiver 3, but we'll see what happens.
Charlie had some looks there.
Nah, it's just
Yeah, I
Zay
saw the
Flowers,
look.
man. Zay Flowers. Hey, he's really good.
Listen, man. Finished as wide receiver 7 last year.
Yep. One time.
All I need is a wide receiver 2.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh man, I think this is gonna be the best year yet. I think finally having like shit talking and probably honestly the most trades we've had so far in an off season.
Yeah.
Since we started in 2020, was it 3? I think in Dynasty or 2022.
23 sounds right. Yeah.
But yeah, my phone's vibrating nonstop still with the beef with
Yeah, they're still
Ryan
talking
and
shit.
my dad. Like golly, jeez. So now we're gonna actually get into our top 6, aka teams that are gonna be making the playoffs. So at number 6, we have the old man. So first, I'll say this: he has the best cornerback in Dynasty. He has Josh Allen, straight up stud. No ifs, ands, or buts. Don't have to debate that. He also probably has some of the best backup quarterbacks too, in Brock Purdy. We know Daniel Jones did get hurt, but we also know the Colts still trust him. He signed that pretty big 2-year contract. But we'll see, how they're going to do with their wide receiver core this year, because currently right now they have Alec Pierce and they have Josh Downs over there. So I think it just kind of depends if he's going to stick with Jones or if he's going to maybe try to trade that quarterback to a team that desperately needs a backup quarterback. I remember we were all shocked because it was last season. He traded for Daniel Jones for a 2nd-round pick, and we were all in awe. But until we saw his production, he was I think he was a top 5 quarterback like the first half of the season. But then he got hurt, and then the Colts didn't even make the playoffs. But I do think he has a very above wide receiver core. And Nico Collins, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jaden Reed, DJ Moore now with him going to the Bills. I really think he's going to be able to get back to that, fantasy value of being a starter, maybe in the flex position. He also has Michael Pittman, but, there's definitely question marks with the quarterback position there with the Steelers. But the biggest thing is his RB concerns. He does have Travis Etienne, but he has Alvin Kamara. What's going to happen now? They did sign Etienne. So for him, he's kind of going through a Charlie phase this year. Charlie had Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Now he has Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. So is he going to just wait and see if Kamara goes somewhere, if he's going to stick with the duo? Like, we don't know. But I've never experienced what Charlie did. Probably had to be hell holding on to those running backs because they were splitting 50-50 carries the whole season. He also has Charbonnet, but Charbonnet also went through a really bad injury. So right now they've been saying that the Seahawks are going to think about taking a running back in the first round to compete with him. But is Sharp going to take over those RB1 roles? We don't know. But also he has Cam Scatterbaloo. And we saw his talent as well. He was a fucking dog. But once again, he had an injury. But once again, the Giants are saying they're going to also potentially take a running back to compete with him. So Cam went from being, I think he was at least a top 12 running back his rookie year until he got injured. And who knows what's going to happen now. But also, he has the best kicker. I know kickers, we don't talk about it that much. But once Brandon Aubrey reaches like the 50-yard line, he's knocking down 5 points for him. So I've been like trying to actually trade for Aubrey because I'm like, once he reached field goal range, 9 out of the 10 times, he's going to make it. It doesn't matter where it's. He makes fucking 65-yard field goals. Like, it's getting candy from a store. But here's the only thing about it. He has no first round picks. So he's rocking with his current team right now. However it goes, we'll see. But he has a very above average team. I can't complain about it, but I think it's just injury concerns at running back that's really going to hold him back.
Yeah, I agreed with fantasy calc here. I had him at 6. I think QB room, obviously, Josh Allen, that's all you really have to say. But Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones, I think Daniel Jones, he's targeting a week 1 return. So who knows if he comes back full healthy? But I mean, him and Alec Pierce were hell of a duo. Running back room scares me the most. Like you said, Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara. Now I do think Etienne, if they do split carries, he'll be 1A, Kamara 1B. But with Kamara's age, I think that really just kind of puts all the RB1 reps to Travis Etienne. Scatterboo, man, I hope he comes back healthy. But again, like Tyrone Tracy was solid last year, in his absence, and even when Cam was doing his thing, like they still split carries. So I'll be very interested there. And Zach Charbonnet with the injury. So I mean, who really knows what it looks like? The tight end room, I think, is a little scary. He's got Njoku, which hey, he still has yet to sign somewhere. Maybe he re-signs with Cleveland, although I highly doubt it. I feel like they would have got that worked out, prior to free agency. But David Njoku still has yet to sign anywhere. I saw a report yesterday that was like, oh, the Ravens are the favorite to sign him, which, if that's the case, I could put some more value in him. But between Njoku and Hawkinson, I mean, I don't think it's the greatest tight end room. And to your point about having no first this year, it's a really, really heavy tight end draft. And I think they're going to go between, I mean, he got picked 206. So, I mean, I think the good ones are going to be gone, to say the least. But that being said, he's got 2 seconds this year, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. So put your weight into those however you want. He does have all his picks next year, so obviously it could look a lot different in next year's draft. With next year, I think at least it's the one that I'm anticipating the most. But overall, I think it could be a sneaky playoff team.
Yeah, I have him ranked as my team 7. Obviously Josh Allen can't get any better. His running backs definitely leave a lot to be desired. ETN going to the Saints, I think, is a good move for him. But him having Kamara, who knows if Kamara is even going to want to play. I don't think the Saints could trade him. I think Kamara would probably retire before he got traded. So he's kind of stuck there. Hunt, I don't even think Hunt's on a team right now. So that is not very good. And Charbonnet, I think even if they draft somebody, he'll be competing for running back 2. I don't think Charbonnet could be a running back 1. I don't think he could carry a full season load as running back 1. Wide receivers, obviously Nico Collins is a dog. Jalen Waddle, I don't like as much in Dynasty this year just because who's his quarterback going to be? Right now, Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers, I think, are the 2.
Malik Willis signed that 3 year.
Right. You know what? I did forget about Malik Willis. Yeah, maybe Malik Willis could have a good year, but what did he play last year as a starter? 4 games. So we'll see what happens there. Devontae Smith's wide receiver 2, TJ Hawkinson, he hasn't been elite in a few years just because he's getting old and he's getting hurt all the time. So I think for me, team 7 is where I'd sit on him.
Yeah, that's very fair for him. Big boomer bust potential. All right, we got number 5 now. We got Johnny's brother, Michael, a.k.a. the Lone Star Ranger. So I did say this in my notes. I truly think out of all the teams, he does have the most well-rounded team. So we look at his quarterbacks. He has Dak, Lamar, and Jackson Dart. Very solid 3. You can run with them for years on end and not even have to worry about trading. And we also see that he has a very decent average running back and wide receiver core. He has Josh Allen, he has Kyron Williams, he has James Cooks. And his wide receivers, he has Amon-Ra, he has Ibuka, and he has Terry McLaurin. But there's 2 things I have to say about Michael. So 1, he has no first-round picks. So once again, there's the question mark that with his current team right now, I think it's if his team stays healthy, he can easily be a top 4 team. But if his team doesn't stay healthy, there's big question marks. But I will say this right now, Michael is the hardest person to trade with in this damn league. I love him so much, but oh my goodness. Like, once again, people like to do their trades differently. They have their, for example, he values Lamar Jackson like he's literally like winning the golden ticket at the chocolate factory. Like he offered me once, he was gonna offer me, and I'll say right now, man. So he was gonna give me Lamar Jackson. I was like, hey, like, what's like the value of Lamar? I was just thinking of like another backup. He was gonna be like, yeah, I'll if you give me your 106 and Tyler Warren, I'll give you Lamar Jackson. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what are we doing right now? I'm like, why are you like valuing a quarterback so big when you sadly had a slump year? But that's the thing. Like, there's so many teams that I know he can trade with to get rid of some of those quarterbacks to get good value, but you're not going to be getting, let's say, for example, like my Bijan or my Jameer Gibbs for draft picks. Like, I'm not trading those running backs away ever. Sorry, saying that to the whole fucking league. I'm never trading Bijan Robinson or Jameer Gibbs ever. I traded Jameer Gibbs once, never happening again.
Thanks,
So
Dale.
the thing with Michael is jeez, it's not even in the league anymore.
Yep, I'm
But
still gonna
yeah,
thank
that's all I have to say. Yep. But that's all I have to say about Michael. I do truly think he has the most well-rounded team all across the board, as long as they stay healthy. But once again, it's a team that doesn't have first-round picks, so we'll see how it goes this year. And yeah, but I love you, Michael. But the trades, man.
I had Lone Star Rangers, aka the commissioner of the league. I had him ranked one spot higher at 4. To Johnny's point, I mean, I think his QB room is great. Uh, you've seen Lamar and Dak both go down with injury, but now him having Jackson Dart, who he drafted last year, I mean, it's a hell of a pickup. He had a really solid rookie year before injuries. Obviously, to your point about trading with him, dude, I've been trying to get Kyron Williams for like a week now, and you would think that Kyron Williams is the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. Yeah, he won't trade him for anything. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not getting Kyron this offseason. But I do think it is a solid running back room. I mean, James Cook was a dog last year. Kyron was great. Josh Jacobs was good. Pacheco going to be interesting now with him going to the Lions, and I mean we're going to see if they do what they did with David Montgomery and do the kind of Sonic and Knuckles type of duo. Um, Even wide receivers though, I think Amon-Ra and Ibuka, they're two studs. McLaurin older, Stephon Diggs, he's 30 something and not on a team, so he has issues there. But I mean, you look at tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. was a stud last year. I mean, he was a straight baller. So I think tight end wise, although there's not a lot of depth, you need one good tight end, especially in a tight end premium league, and you're pretty straightforward. And picks wise, I think he's fine without a first this year. Granted, his second is 211, so I mean it's damn near a third round pick. So it's kind of a late one. So we'll see if he wants to move up in the draft. So honestly, like on team needs, I would even add like a second round pick just because like that's a very very late second, dude. Like I don't, as someone who loves draft picks, I don't love that position.
Yeah, so I had him ranked as team 5 to 6 for me. Um, QBs, I like Dak. I think with CD and Pickens there, I think he should have a productive year. And their defense isn't too good, so they're probably going to score a lot of points. Josh Jacobs, he's getting older, but he's still kicking. I don't really think they have anyone in Green Bay to fight for that starting job. Kyren, I know he's in a split backfield now with Blake Corum, so we'll see how that goes. But I mean, it's keeping Kyren fresher. It seems like he's still getting a majority of the red zone carries and touches, so I think that's working in his favor. James Cook is obviously a dog. I actually traded him, James Cook. I see. Seems like the trades I make with them are pretty one-sided towards me. Maybe it's brotherly love. I don't know. Maybe. um, Wide receivers, Amon Ra. I also traded him Amon Ra. Obviously, Amon Ra, top 5 wide receiver in the league. Egbuka, I like Egbuka now that Mike Evans is gone, especially. But after that, I think it kind of falls off for me. I don't like McLaurin as much now. He's getting older. He's been hurt. He has had a rough couple of years. Fannin, love Fannin. I think he's going to be a great tight end for the Browns, hopefully. Fingers crossed he stays healthy and he keeps producing like he did last year because he had an insane year last year. And then um, depth-wise, his running backs, I mean, I honestly think he needs help pretty much everywhere on depth except quarterback. So yeah, I'd say he's team 5 for me.
Yeah, I remember. I offered him a trade that I think was like very, very fair. Like I know it was Christian McCaffrey. I was giving him Ted McMillan, and I believe I think it was like a second round pick. And in return, I was getting like James Cook, Terry McLaurin, and like a third rounder. And the one thing about Michael is his go to message will be, I'll think on it. Give me a minute.
Yep.
And then he won't do anything that day, and I will withdraw the trade because I'm like, I know what's going to happen. So, once again, the commish, he does have a very well rounded team, and I definitely see him being a top six, maybe even a top four draft. Sorry, not top four draft, top 14. But, time will tell. But, maybe some trades will happen. But now we are going to be skipping to team four, which is our boy Charlie, aka Trayvon's Trench. I will say this about Charlie's team. I had a very hard time placing you. I knew you were going to be a top 16 for me, but I couldn't tell if you were 4, 5, or 6 for me. So, like, truly 4, 5, and 6 were like ties. But I did technically have you at team 6. But I will say this. You have star player talent now. After you made that trade for Kenneth Walker, you have Travion Henderson now. You have Kenneth Walker. You have Drake London. You have Jake Ferguson, who 3/4 of the season, he was tight end 1 the whole time, even with Trey McBride. But, of course, at the end, he still finished at tight end 5. He had a slump at the end. But you still have a top 5 tight end in a tight end premium league now. So that's big props to you. The only thing I saw, like, you had an average bench, but, like, I think it really just depends now with Alec Pierce. Like, are we going to think he's going to be this, like, freaking stud of, like, a top 10 wide receiver? Because he's now a top 10 wide receiver paid in the league. So if you're paying him that much money, Alec Pierce better be getting targets. That's all I have to say. But I also love this pick that you made last year in Jaden Higgins. Like, it looks like he's going to be a guaranteed wide receiver 2 behind Nico Collins. And, of course, I think the question mark is CJ Stroud, if he can get out of that slump. But I remember I wanted to get Jaden Higgins last year, but I think you took him, like, before me, or I just took someone else. But you do have a boomer bust in Godwin and Tyreek. Do I think I still have faith in Tyreek that he still has at least 2 good more years? Like, he's not going to go back to his Chiefs self. I think personally, like, I think he has some value still. I know you were saying you're going to trade him for a bag of chips, but he's still one of the fastest players in the league. Give him a 3-yard slant. He'll still put up like 8 catches for 70 yards. What? But Chris Godwin, with Evans gone, I still have high hopes that he can go back to his slot role. And he was the same thing. He would get like anywhere from 6 to 10 targets a game. And he maybe wasn't a big touchdown dependent player, but he was still a PPR stud. But I will say this. The quarterback situation for you is very interesting. You got a steal in Michael Penix. I think you got him in the 3rd round.
Yep.
And I remember I traded right in front of you, and you thought I was going to take him, but I took Troy Franklin instead. But now we see the situation with the Falcons right now. You have Baker Mayfield. I think he's like your dependent quarterback that you just stick with. But him losing Mike Evans, like Mike Evans was a touchdown machine for the Bucs. So is Ibuka going to really take over that role and be able to be that touchdown dependent player? Because there's times Baker would literally chuck that fucking ball up and then just hope for the best that Mike Evans just mosses a player. So, but also everyone that's watching, if I had to compare Charlie to someone in real life, if you guys know the GM for OKC that has like 50 billion picks, that's exactly who Charlie is in our league. I know this is just based off of this year, but Charlie literally owns like probably 50% of our picks going forward the next 3 years right now up to 2028. So right now, this year, he does have pick 109, 202, and also 205. Like Mendoza currently, like this is how stacked this draft class is this year. Mendoza is, I believe, pick like 10 in the 2nd round. Like, and we had, like I said, Cam Ward drafted 1st overall, not Cam Ward, this season before that, like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, they were top 3 picks. So I think it just depends, what you can get out of this draft. But you do have a very well-talented team all across the board. It's just a matter of how these teams are going to be playing these players, such as, Alec Pierce, Jaden Higgins, and now Kenneth Walker with the Chiefs. So, but I love the team. I love it.
Yeah, I know Fantasy Calc had me at 4. I took myself back 1 and put myself at 5. Um, QB room, I think when I drafted CJ Stroud and he had that rookie season, I was like, dude, I'm set. Like at the time I had CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and somebody else, and I was like, all right, like we're good. Baker and I feel like the whole Bucks team all could have been MVP candidates last year in the first half of the season. And then something happened in the second half of the season where they forgot to play football, so I think that really hurt me last year. But running back room, like I feel solid. Like Kenneth Walker, Travion Henderson, I have my 1-2 punch. Jalen Warren, I know Rico's there now in Pittsburgh with him, but I mean, Jalen Warren was still pretty productive with Kenny Gainwell in Pittsburgh last year, so I feel good there. Blake Corum starting to get more reps at the end of last year with Kyron, they kind of split there, and then Jordan Mason. As of right now, I think he's RB1 in Minnesota. I mean, granted, who knows how that running back room will shake up here shortly. Wide receivers, they're young, and that is for the most part. You have Chris Godwin, who's 30, and Tyreek Hill. But other than that, I mean, I got 10 other guys that are relatively young there at wide receiver. So I'm pretty content there. Drake London and Marvin Harrison Jr., Alec Pierce, like those guys really holding it down for me. And then tight end Jake Ferguson. I just look back. When I thanked Dale earlier, it's out of sarcasm, but this one I'm gonna thank him out of true thankfulness. On October 7th, 2024, I was offered Jake Ferguson and a 2027 first round pick for James Conner and a 2025 second round pick. I took that trade. Now Jake Ferguson last year finishes tight end 5, and I have the projected number 1 overall pick with that pick that I traded for in 2024, and that could be Mr. Jeremiah Smith. I just putting that out there. So that's what we're hoping for. But I think maybe not this year. I think I could sneak into the playoffs, but I definitely don't think I'm making a deep run. But I do think give it a year or two, and I'll probably be a consistent contender.
Yeah, I have you ranked as team 4 for me. I love your starters, I'll be honest. I love the way your team looks. CJ Stroud, obviously, who knows how he's going to play, but I think even if he only plays okay, you have Baker, who is probably a top 10 fantasy quarterback right now. Well, we'll see how it goes with like Buka and without Mike Evans this year, but I think top 10 fantasy quarterback. Henderson, I think, is going to come into his own this year. He was showing flashes last year, all year. I think they give him more of a workload this year. He'll be fine. Obviously, that Kenneth Walker is a steal going to the Chiefs. I mean, he should have a great year there. You got Marv, you got Drake London, you got 2 young guys, and I mean, they should be getting most of the target share in their offenses. So there should be a lot of production there. Jake Ferguson with Dallas, there should be a lot of production there. You're sitting with Khalil Shakir, who I know now is the wide receiver 2 in Buffalo, but honestly, he might be better off getting moved to the slot and getting more of the short yardage stuff and just getting a lot of target share there. So yeah, I love your team. I think you can really compete in the playoffs this year.
Thanks, man.
So much love, man. We all love. All right. Well,
The big 3.
round on Johnny's father. Yeah. Team Contagious. I think we can all agree that he was 3 across all of our boards.
Yep.
I had him at 2.
Yeah. You had him at 2. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I can't wait to hear that. So I had him at 3. I will say this, he has a very good young star duo punch in Jonathan Taylor and Genty. He also has a very young star wide receiver trio. Of course, he has one of the best in Jackson Smith. Ohio State legend, what it do. Justin Jefferson, I know he had such a bad year last year, but it was because of quarterback concerns. Justin Jefferson is still a straight-up dog. We all know that. And then he has Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams, he was also a pretty big boomer bust, but he is a very trustworthy wide receiver as well, a straight-up flex spot you can always play every single week and trust. He also has the best tight end in the league in Trey McBride. I think we can all agree he is the best. And he also has probably some of the best, quarterbacks in the league in Drake May, Jared Goff and also even Jalen Hurts as well too. And he has full advantage now with his second pick because I think once again, if something happens with Jeremiah Love and Johnny does not want to take him for some odd reason, um, he's set on taking any of those three studs or even taking Sadiq. So we'll see what that happens. Really, the big thing that I saw out of this is with him having the second pick, I know having like a third running back on your team would be nice, but I think it's a big leap of taking a running back at pick 2. So I think he's going to probably take a wide receiver there. But I will say there is a concern with his backup tight end. I know he has Trey McBride. So I had to figure out something with this team that I'm like, there has to be something wrong. But he does have Dalton Kincaid. That is a decent backup. But Dawson Knox, he still signed a 3-year deal with the Bills. Not a 1-year deal, 3-year deal. So no matter what, they're going to still be doing a 2 tight end punch with the Bills. They love using Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid at the same time. And his other tight end is Michael Mayer. And as we know, he's the backup to, I believe, I think he's with the Raiders still, to Brock Bowers. So I still have him as a lock of being at least a top 4 team at the end of this year. There wasn't really a lot that I could find out of it. Even though he, doesn't have a backup tight end, he still has pick 11 as well and 203. And Stowers from Vanderbilt, he's currently going like in the late first round. So maybe that's something he's going to be sneaky and take with that 111 or at the 203. But yeah, he also has like a very well-rounded team. It was kind of hard for me to kind of pick out things that would kind of stand out. But yeah, that's what I got to say about your dad.
Yeah, I had him at 3, and to be honest, looking at the team on paper now, I almost want to bump him up my power rankings. I'll keep him at 3 though, but that's a damn good quarterback room. Drake May, who, come on, this guy was up for the MVP conversation last year. He was in the damn Super Bowl last year. Granted, it didn't look pretty, but hey, he was still there in his rookie season. You had Jalen Hurts, who is the, tush-push merchant, and he just picks up, 6 fantasy points when they're on the goal line, so that's always a nice little thing to have. But then, sure, he's got Trey McBride, right? He has the best fantasy tight end. He's got Jackson Smith and Jigma. He's got Justin Jefferson, who honestly, yes, he's Justin Jefferson, and he's Jay Jettis, but who's playing quarterback, guys? Legitimately.
Kyler Murray.
Okay. As long as it's not J.J. McCarthy, I think he'll have a good year. But then you look at his picks, 102 and 111 this year. He also has his own first next year, and he has 2 firsts in 2028. His future is also extremely bright, and there's not many holes that he has to fill. So, man, you look 2 years down the road, and this team looks even scarier. So, right now I got him at 3, but man, I could see a case for bringing him up to 2.
Yeah, speaking of, I actually have him as my team 2. I think he probably has the most balanced roster for me in the league. He's got a top QB. He's got 2 of the top running backs. He's got 2 of the top 6 receivers. He's got the best tight end. He's got a really good flex spot in Jameson Williams, who finished top 10 last year. Who knows if he can do it again this year, but that Lions offense, presumably, he can at least finish top 15. And then Kincaid as his backup tight end, I think is completely fine in Buffalo, where they don't really have many people to steal targets. So, figure he's getting 4 or 5 targets a game, maybe. I think he's fine. I don't think there's anybody in the league that has a more balanced roster than what he's got. And then you include all the picks he's got. I think his team is going to be competing for the next 5 years, honestly.
Yeah, I got to give props to your dad. He also sends very fair trades, too. There's a trade last year that I declined, and it was so close to me accepting it. He was offering me, I think, was that the time that he had Kenneth Walker? Your dad had Kenneth Walker at one point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he offered me, it was Kenneth Walker, Trey McBride, Romeo Dunze, and a first-round pick, and then he was going to want to get, I think it was Jahmyr Gibbs, I think it was Chris Olave, my backup tight end, and a second-rounder, but I just couldn't give up Jahmyr Gibbs. But he is, a very solid person to trade with, but like you guys were saying, with all the first-round picks and everything, I don't even think you even try to move around and do stuff. But Going to team 2 now. It's actually Bowers. I actually had Bowers as number 1. Um, so basically, with his team, the fucking wide receiver core he has is so scary. So scary. As we know, he has Jamar Chase, he has Puka Nacua, he has CeeDee Lamb, and he also has a mixture of either using Mike Evans or even DK Metcalf as well too. But his tight ends are even scarier. He has Brock Bowers, he has Colson Loveland, and before he was hurt, he has Tucker Kraft, who was a straight up fucking stud last year too. So being a tight end premium league now and already having these tight ends before we made the premium, he has so much advantage now to teams that need a tight end. And if he wants to make some trades, like his team is nutty. I will say this though, his quarterbacks are a big question mark. I love Justin Herbert, but gosh, that man gets sacked like 15 times a game. Like, please get Justin Herbert some help. Like, my gosh. And then his backup quarterbacks are J.J. McCarthy and Cam Ward. So it's just a matter of really his quarterbacks. I think really everything else is solid, but his running backs, though, are also a question mark. His wide receivers do all of his points for him. He has Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is still a stud, but his other running backs are Tyrone Tracy, and he has Rico. So Rico, we'll see how he does with the Steelers, but I think if you had to go one way or another, you might as well have a stacked wide receiver core and then have an average running back core. But his tight ends, man, like he can use Folsom, Loveland, and Bowers at both of his flexes, and it's going to be dangerous, man. Like this year, like he's looking crazy. Like if one of his wide receivers go down, he can even use freaking 3 tight ends in his lineup and still be a stud. So like, gosh, his team is scary. But I think it's just his quarterback situation because if Herbert goes down, I don't really see what happens at that position.
Yeah, I kept him at number 2, where Fantasy Calc had him. Two main reasons behind that is kind of what you hinted at, was the depth at quarterback and the depth at running back. Listen, Saquon, he did have a down year last year, but he's Saquon. Like, you know what he can do and what he should do. And Rico, to your point, I mean, Rico going to Pittsburgh, who knows? But he's got depth there. I mean, he's got young guys who God only knows what they're going to turn into. I mean, I definitely have more stock from a QB perspective in Cam Ward than J.J. McCarthy. At this point, I would just cut him off my roster because he's taking up a roster spot. I'm surprised he hasn't yet. But to your point, wide receivers, the best core in the league. Tight ends, best core in the league. He has all of his picks moving forward. I think he's just missing his second this year, but like 2027, 2028, he's got all of his picks there. Yeah, it's a disgusting team. I mean, it truly is disgusting, and it's kind of unfair. But yeah, it's gross. It's gross. That's all I can say. It's gross.
Yeah, I had him as my team 3. His wide receivers are they're unbelievable. I mean, the fact that you get CeeDee Lamb, which I did trade him CeeDee Lamb, um, and Jamar Chase, and he drafted Puka in like the 13th round when we started this thing. They like just his wide receiver value is insane. I mean, Mike Evans is getting old, but he's still gonna be productive. DK Metcalf, maybe not as productive with the Steelers, but still a good enough flex spot to put in there for a week or two if you needed him. The thing that brought him down below my dad was his running back. Saquon's pushing 30. He had a down year. He didn't look as explosive. The Eagles' offense is kind of turning into a big question mark on what their game plan is. Um, Tyrone Tracy is RB2 unless Scadaboo like concusses himself and is dead or something. But even so, I think the Giants are probably still drafting another running back. And then Dobbins is RB1 in Denver, at least right now. But who knows if they go running back in the draft, and maybe that messes with the depth chart a little bit. And then quarterbacks, I like Herbert. We'll see what happens. His tackles are supposed to be back this year, so I'm hoping he stands up in the pocket longer because I do have Quentin Johnston. I don't think that Herbert is a bad quarterback. I just think that his depth after Herbert brings him down. But I think Herbert being a top 7 fantasy QB or maybe around there, I mean, his team is fucking disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
I didn't realize this that I was looking at more on J.K. Dobbins, and they say he's staying in Denver for 2 more years. So I mean, for him, that kind of helps him out. When 2028 comes, I'm finding a running back. But the R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, duo it's not gonna go away. R.J. Harvey was still very productive when he was hurt too. So yeah, I think time will tell. But I think he's gonna be able, I think, to slide with Rico. Rico was 1,000-yard running back, and the dude eclipsed what back-to-back 200-yard games. Like, it was freaking insane watching those 2 weeks. So, we'll see. But yeah, going to number one, it wasn't by a lot. I was team one.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. All right. Come
as
on.
you can see, I don't know if my dimples are coming out or anything, guys, but it's kind of hard. I don't know like how you guys were able to talk about your own team. Like,
It's weird.
that's why it's harder for me to do it now because like I get it, I won. I was a champion this past year. So what can I say? But the funny thing is, I think Bauer's team is exactly like mine, but opposite. So with my running backs, I don't mean to brag, but like I have 3 of the top 4 dynasty running backs already in Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs, and Devon Achane. And I also have Christian McCaffrey, who finished as RB1 last year. So I know for a fact, like, I have nothing to worry about with running backs anytime soon because I think Devon Achane and Gibbs and Bijan are only 23 years old. Like, I'm absolutely sad. I know the only thing I really saw about my team, and I think you guys can agree as well, are my wide receivers. I know I just made a trade and I gave up Chris Olave, but I did give up to have a 6th pick. I will say this, and I'm going to defend my case in my wide receivers. So I'm fully trusting the process on my 3 like taxi squad receivers that I had throughout the past 2 years. 1 in Trey Harris, 2 Jalen Coker, and 3 Matthew Golden. I'm going to just tell you these stats on them, which is why I was okay with giving up Chris Olave. And Matthew Golden, first appearance in the playoffs last year. He had 4 catches, 84 yards, a touchdown. If you even look, like me personally, for example, I use the X count a lot to like see people like post videos of my players like in practice and stuff like that. Like all they showed about Matthew Golden was how fast he was and how Jordan Love at times was missing his targets. But in his first appearance in a playoff game, in the biggest spotlight, 84 yards and a touchdown. To even top that, Jalen Coker, the thing with me is I have Ted McMillan, who's wide receiver 1, and then I already have the guaranteed wide receiver 2 for Carolina. You know what Jalen Coker did in that game against the Rams? 9 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown. So once again, I know for a fact my wide receiver team is on the lower side, but I'm a trusted process type of dude. And also Trey Harris right now, I know you have QJ, Johnny, but Trey Harris right now, in depth, he's wide receiver 2 right now. He was getting so much love last year. I don't know really what else to say, unless you guys want me to talk about my tight ends. I think I have Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts, right? Anywho. Oh, yeah, tight end premium. Anyways. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about my team. But yeah, I definitely know wide receiver is the concern. But I can rock with 1-star wide receiver in Tet and roll with my RBs every day of the week.
Yeah, I think there's no question your team is number 1. I do have to ask this because I'm a little curious. Do you cut Dale a commissions check for your winnings? I'm just curious how that works. No, I'm genuinely curious.
Dude, I was waiting.
It's crazy. Like if I mean, we could sit here all day long and pull up the trades that are like, how in anyone's for those who don't know, we had vetoes in this league for trades. We then removed that when the rookie draft came along on actual draft day because it was like, meh, we probably shouldn't, hold up the draft.
Mm-hmm.
They were never turned back on after that. So Dale, lovely Dale, made some trades, and let's just say they were some of the most boneheaded trades. That's all it was. One of the trades was Joe Flacco for Kyler Murray straight up, and that one still puzzles me to this day.
Oh my gosh!
But to
we
focus
couldn't
on your
veto it
team,
either.
to focus on your team, you have the 4 best running backs. It's simple as that. You have the 4 best running backs. Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, is a top 5 quarterback. Darnold, I mean, even he's a top 5 quarterback. Your tight ends, Tyler Warren, top 5. Kyle Pitts easily could be top 5. Just depends who's throwing him the ball this year, which I know is a concern, but still, he should be top 5. Oh, you have really good young receivers. That's cool. You also have pick 6 and pick 7. Oh my god, you could draft 2 wide receivers there if you wanted to and fill out your wide receiver room with 2 studs. I mean,
Forgot about that.
for all we know, Cardinal Tate falls to 6 because everyone goes tight end. Jeremiah Love goes 1, and then 5 tight ends go. And then you can take them. It's just like you are so set up for success. I know next year rather, you don't have your first, I don't believe. But 2028, you got your first, you got 2 seconds. I mean, you got picks galore. Yeah, your team is just it's. Thank you, Dale.
Yeah. I also have you at team 1 purely from the fact that your running backs at any point can all score 30 points in a game. And then you win just off of that, not including the fact that Joe Burrow is a top 5 QB when healthy, and the fact that you have 2 crazy tight ends and a tight end premium that you could easily play in your flex, but wait, you can't because you have 4 top 5 running backs. So yeah, you're the only problem with your team is wide receivers. Is honestly, you should just trade one of your running backs to Lee and get one of his wide receivers. You'd both help each other out. It's ridiculous how good your team is. It's crazy how good the top 3 teams are compared to everybody else's. It almost feels like David and Goliath, and we're just trying to climb a mountain to get kicked right back off. It's kind of fucked up. But yeah, your team is easily, I mean, you won last year, easily have to stay number 1 this year as of right now.
Yeah, but the thing about this league, like I said, like it's very exciting to see where people started and where they ended. Like my first year did not make the playoffs. Second year, I made the playoffs. So I think I lost in the first round. And then the third year came and I won. But that's the fun because, like, for example, like Johnny, you had a good team, but then you're like, fuck it. Like, let me just trade players. Let me get draft picks. Like, I know for a fact, like, you saw the future somehow to get 101 and now 105. And I know people were hating on you at 105, but 105 is the perfect position for any player at that point because no matter what, you are guaranteed one of those 3 receivers or Sadiq, no matter what, point blank. But then Charlie, like you both are playoff teams, but Charlie, once again, you look at those draft picks, you can easily, like for me, I remember I traded away Tony Pollard and a first-round pick to get Jahmyr Gibbs when Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, was a rookie, and we see what happened now. Like, that's the fun thing about Dynasty. Like, I remember I didn't even want to do Dynasty, and look at the fun of it now. Like, we have a fucking podcast now. Keep it up with the RDF, motherfuckers. So, I think it's just very exciting. Trust the process, see how teams work out. I definitely think some teams should be more active in, you know, if it's looking at trades, declining trades, because we have freaking people now saving phone numbers. For me, I save phone numbers now, and I'm reaching out to people now at this point. I don't even trust the app. I'm texting. I'm like, Ryan, what's up? Let's make a trade. So I think this was like definitely a segment I was very excited to do. Trying to get like your guys' perspective too on like how it all works. But I think, of course, now, do we want to hint what the next one's going to be about, or should we just keep it hidden and we just kind of go from there?
Give a little tease.
A little hint. All right, you know, let's just say we talked a lot about team needs, and we talked a lot about draft picks. Put those 2 together. So before we leave here, my favorite thing is 4th and 10 seconds. You know, each one of us, every single episode, we're going to say something in 10 seconds. So let's see if someone calls someone out, or let's just see, you know, what we're thinking. So, you know, Charlie, let me get this stop clock on, and we're going to go from there. All right, 10 seconds. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Dale, I hope you bought something very nice with your commission checks from Johnny's championship winnings because, my God, you pretty much are a co-owner of his team. Congratulations. You too are a champion.
Valid.
That's crazy. Okay, Johnny. 3, 2, 1, go.
You know, I'm just excited for the season. I think I've done the best I can to try and get my team back into the playoffs. And you know, I'm ready for the draft already. I'm ready to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just excited for your fucking team name. My golly. All right. 3, 2, 1. Michael, please, let's just make a trade. Let's just find something that works out for the best of us. We were so close of making something happen, and you didn't want to give up James Cooks. I get it, but look at the value we're both getting. Please, let's just make a trade. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, thank you for listening. Episode 2. We're going to keep on trying to do this, at least once or even sometimes twice a week. And if trades start coming in, start looking at those YouTube reels. We might do live trades once they come in, and you guys can see them instantly and react on what you think. But until then, your boys from Keeping Up with the RDF. See you at episode 3. Peace.
Peace.